DT, I hope honestly that people check the video clips that I put up weekly on the website so they can see this one when it's posted, so they can see by the way we're dressed how serious we are about today's topic.
Well, you're damn straight, Biffy. Or I mean, Mitch. This is
Biffy, Mitch, I'll go by both. Yeah,
a serious topic. If I could get serious for a moment, and I think I can. Um,
yeah. Let's try.
this
Go ahead,
topic,
give it a go.
yeah, this topic is something that people really need to. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about. You want to tell
Yeah,
us
I mean,
what the topic is?
because we're talking about a later in life career change. We're talking in your 50s, but both of us are in our 60s. So I think it's something applicable, but I think there's something across all age ranges that people can get out of this one.
Yeah, after we talked earlier, I did Google the career changes after 60, and a lot of the same things that just put more emphasis maybe on you know maybe doing something you're passionate about or whatever, more of a passion project than at
Yeah,
45,
there's
55.
because one of the links I came across was also give you reasons to why you might. Um, but generally speaking, like I mentioned, all the age demographics, and this is not surprising. A lot of this is, so brace yourself. But they say as much as 67% of workers 65 and over say they're extremely satisfied. So I mean, I get it. By then you probably should be at 65.
Yeah, if
But
you're
I was,
still wasting time doing something you hate, man, I do not envy
yeah,
you.
especially at 65. But then you won't be surprised to see that the percentage drops sharply from the age group from 50 to 64, which is a pretty big group. 50 to 64 drops 12%, where only 55% say they're satisfied. And it stays kind of like in that range 55, go to the next demographic, 51, the next demographic, 44. But it's a big drop from 65 to 50.
Hmm. Yeah, I was reading something from the American Institute for Economic Research, and they said that they found that 83% of older uh, people that change jobs find success at their new job as far as they're happier, less stressed, and more passionate about it. And the income typically, it says, is about the same or higher.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because mine's about a year old, by the way, since you're citing references from one of our favorites, the Pew Research Center. It's not quite a year old, so because I wanted to make sure we took into data that was post. What did they call that? The great where we stopped working. They said they don't want to work anymore. The great walkout. The great I
Yeah,
quit.
yeah, I don't, yeah, I forget what it was called.
That's a shame because they probably thought it was really important. But but some of the reason they talk about
Great
it's like
Resignation,
uh,
was that it?
there you go, there you go. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But and this might again, this isn't going to surprise you either. They say a lot of people, they talk about workplace satisfaction kind of correlates to income. So 4 and 10 say, 39% say, oh, excuse me, that's a different category. But I mean, it's no surprise if you're making a butt ton of money, they can cure a lot of ills, right?
Yeah, I will admit that if I do make a career change, that this later part of my life, it's not going to be to do something I hate for more money. It's something I like for less money seems the path I would take. Um, hobby job or job with more satisfaction. Maybe you feel like you're helping to do something.
Well, we happen to have like I mentioned in the email I sent to you a resource that went through this actually in myself. I didn't even realize it until I got like halfway through digging up the data because I did a career change at age 56, and it like you mentioned at that time for me it wasn't about the money. I'll tell you right now it's like a 3% increase in pay, but I didn't even discuss it because when the company that contacted me, I was so excited for the career change and the shift in focus and the energy from the new company. I just wanted to give it a shot. Let's go,
Yeah, and I don't know that we are typical. I mean, we're pretty common. You've mentioned before, as much as you try to,
Yeah.
you're as ordinary, and I'm sure even less ordinary. But not everybody all of a sudden at 55, not everybody's desire is to completely stop working at 55 years old and ride out their sunset years. Um,
I wouldn't
I mean,
think
there's a
so.
lot of people, that are perfectly content doing that. They, spend time with their families or travel, that's all they want to do. But you and I both mentioned we don't know that that's the route we want to take. We're both at an age probably where we could, you know, greatly reduce the amount we work or retire or something. Um, I mean, you're going to be
Warmer.
eligible to start getting some checks in the mail from Social Security if you wanted to this year. Um,
Well, see, that's one point though. That's one reason that I don't think was covered on any of these sites. But one reason why you might it maybe change your career. Sure, if you can get some of the aspects that you want of a new job into, but you also want to maybe earn enough money where you don't have to start taking Social Security right away, and you can wait for the greater benefit later on.
yeah, so new challenges are good in life, right? You don't want to never challenge yourself, never learn anything new. We joked about it before, that I'm trying to learn a language, or the professors took up guitar at 60, whatever, 60 or 61, trying to learn how to play the guitar.
Is
He
he
did a
really?
demonstration for me the other day. He's awful at it, so there's plenty of opportunities for him to learn.
Good
Uh,
deal.
he still
Professor,
did
if you're
Smoke on
listening,
the Water that everybody learned how to do with, the first four
that's
chords of that or something in
is
1975
that's
or
still a thing, huh?
yeah. So anyway, I guess some of the stuff that I sent you and you sent me a few things too is, I guess determining what you want out of that, maybe a career change, right?
Yeah,
One of the
definitely. I
things
mean,
they list, probably could put, the things you like about your current career. I mean, later in life, you ought to have a little bit more insight about the things you like in life and what you want to still accomplish or what you want to do. Um, you know, Kid coming out of high school maybe doesn't know. In college, still you're forced to pick a major, but you don't know that that's going to be something that you're going to stick with. Most people don't. They changed. I read something. They have, or maybe you said that people have on average like 11 jobs from
yeah,
20
I
to
think I remember
retirement.
that.
But
I don't know if it counts like when they were in high school or nothing like that, but that seems like a lot.
yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, very few people anymore though come out of when we were kids, whatever. You came out, you went to work at Caterpillar on the production line, you did your 30 years and then you never worked. So, that was your one big job. You had a few, whatever, jobs in high school or whatever. But yeah, so I mean, I would think that assessing your current career and seeing what you want to do differently, like I said, maybe you always wanted to be, you know, a cook in a restaurant, or you always wanted to be a forest ranger, or you always wanted to be a farmer or something. So, you know, and you need to look and see what skills that you have that are transferable, which ones you need to brush up on.
I mean, first of all, two of those three jobs I would take in a heartbeat. But yeah, well, I mean, also when like what you're saying, I mean, I think you hit a nail on the head when you say the transferable characteristics, and you got to be honest with yourself. Um, do the self-assessment. You consider your skill set, and again, be honest with yourself. If you're an idiot, say so. I'd gladly say it all the time. But transferable skills describe skills that you can apply to multiple professions. Job openings that you see, like oh, I don't know, project manager. Um, but you can also, like, if you're a project manager, you can also use sites like if you put your name on a site that's people are pretty common with, LinkedIn, they search for you, whether you want it. I mean, you just tell them if you're looking for a job or not, and they'll email you openings. So that kind of helps you. You
Yeah,
know,
today looking at it was the first time I've ever been on that Indeed.com. And if somebody's thinking about that, you don't have to sign or whatever. I Googled, changing careers after 60, and it linked me to some videos on Indeed.com on how to, things you need to do, as far as brushing up your resume, or, try to see which soft skills you have that work across any industry, if you're dealing with people. A lot of those, like I said, so that's a pretty handy tool to go to that
yeah.
Indeed.com. Um,
And you can also tailor it by companies you think you might want to work for. Like I've always wanted to work for NASA. I mean, or I've always
so do
liked
you
to
have
work
a
for.
backup, I mean, maybe, yeah, NASA, that's not the first thing that came to mind when I thought of you. But
I'm afraid to
sure.
ask what. I don't know if Mickey Mouse has a professional manservant, but that's
Yeah,
yeah. But well, I mean, because
career
how cool
goals
would
are
it
good
be,
too.
like SpaceX or what's the one Elon Musk? That is SpaceX. I was thinking
That
of Blue Origin.
is SpaceX and the um,
Yeah, but how cool would that be? Like driving into the parking lot in the morning, and off in the distance you see a 10-story rocket laying there. Like that's what I'm working on today. How cool would
right.
that be?
And honestly, yeah, all of you and I both have the skills to work someplace like that. There's somebody there that we have similar skills to and is helping their team. And like I said, I have a background nuclear power plants. I don't ask me to split an atom or anything, but there's transferable skills I have that would work for that. So yeah, you need to research those jobs that you think you might be interested. Spend a few hours seeing what skills those take, and then seeing which ones you have, and maybe don't be so hard on yourself. You may be missing the fact that you have some skills. A lot of people think, well, I don't know how to do anything. Well, that's typically not true. If you've been walking around to make it to 50, 60 years old and plus, whatever, you've attained some skills in the labor force that are that you can
Yeah.
use on other jobs.
You make three very good points, I think, right there, because first of all, you start off with refining based on this transferable skills. If you put your transferable skills and you're honest about it in your skill set on LinkedIn, they do that for you too. So just so you know, that's they'll refine job openings based on your skill sets. But also, you mentioned, you know, we say be hard on yourself, be honest about yourself, about your transferable skills, but also don't discount what you've got, because you might be surprised to find how the skill set that you have, especially in point three in today's market, where, like we say, there's a great resignation and we're still seeing a big demand in the job market. Your skills might be highly sought after. You might be surprised.
Yeah, I was looking to see what some of the more common ones are for uh, um, older members of the workforce, but things that involve bookkeeping, sales jobs, um, real estate, what do you call it? Agents, um, data
I always hear
analytics,
consultants on
uh,
your list.
consultants, project management, HR. So a lot of those. And then if you're a more blue collar type, um, those play. There's always people looking for somebody who can do, you know, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. Everybody needs an
Yeah,
electrician, a plumber, and an air conditioner guy, and a roofer. So at 60, you may not want to start a career, being a roofer on high rises or something. Um, uh, but there's plenty of those, whatever welders, people that are sharp with architectural drawings and can, I have my uncle just did some plumbing today. He's 85 years old. He likes doing that stuff. He's always got to have a project. So people around would always, there would be people if they knew he was doing that today. I'm sure his neighbors, there's probably three or four of them. Hey, could you come over and change a toilet in my house or whatever? So
as
they're
you said,
trans.
I was thinking of opportunities for them.
Yeah. And
I mean,
we know
because
how
there's
to
all
network. If you've been around for a long time, you don't even think about the fact you probably know somebody, um, or introduce yourself. I've made no secret of this. I mentioned it just a couple times in passing that I've considered as when I retire from my current job or switch careers or whatever, I would maybe like to either volunteer or be a park ranger so work for National Park Service or the Forest Service or something. So I've talked to people in those places when I stop by a national park. I try to talk to the rangers and the volunteers and stuff and see what they like about what they're doing, if there's opportunities there. Um, so, like I said, maybe the career you want is something to just where you're not working full time and you have opportunities to spend time with your grandkids or do whatever, but you still want to have uh, a toe in the water, do a little bit of stuff. So, 20 hours a week or whatever. There may be companies that say, yeah, I don't need somebody full time, but I could use some help on the weekends, or I could use some help on, Tuesday mornings and Thursdays, and that
well, that's
helps.
part of it. I think you're right on track with the common themes or the common reasons. Like a lot of the reasons people leave their jobs is better, like you said, spending time with the grandkids or whatever. Better work life balance is definitely one of them. But yeah, and again, you're talking different jobs, like a job variety. So maybe if you've been working in a certain career for an extended amount of time, you might want to get some kind of variety in your life. That's totally understandable. But
Yeah, I have a brother-in-law, very stressful job, and you try managing a restaurant the way people act nowadays in public or something. Um, it, so yeah, that's a very stressful job, and it's one that I don't think he's in love with. I know he's not. So, and he's probably worried because he's the same age as I am, and thinking, well, I don't want to, you know, switch jobs this late. I'm sure he could switch to, work for another company that has similar. But there, like I said, he's developed skills through the years where that would be he could do the soft skill thing and maybe sell cars or real estate or whatever.
or use that management experience. I mean, don't discount that because managers are always going to be in big demand, especially like you just mentioned. I think it was on one of those on your top 10 list. People
Yeah.
managers are not easy to find, and good ones are not easy to find. And I'm sure that goes from the employer's point of view and also from the employee's point of view, because you've heard before, like, people don't leave jobs because of the job; they leave because of bad managers.
Yeah.
So that's just something that's common. But as you're getting ready to go, if you made your decision, I think, well, even if you have made a decision, I think you should do some prep work. Like when I started looking for a career change, I made sure I updated my resume. When I say I updated it, I didn't do it because I'm basically an idiot. We've already established that. I had somebody, luckily I had a friend who was a professional. Otherwise, you can find somebody probably to pay to do it, almost guaranteed. But
Yeah, there are
let
resume
that,
services. I
yeah,
think
let
you can
them do
actually
it.
in Illinois go to the what do they call that thing? Like over by the unemployment, they have a job skills development uh, thing, and they'll help you with your resumes. And they do it online now.
Yeah, because that's the last one I did online, and uh, I was on live with someone, and they were like, well, they pointed this out, pointed that out. Like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense because let's just say if it's a job where a lot of people are applying to it, you better have the equivalent of an elevator speech in your resume. You can't have long sentences like, I did this, I did that, it turned out pretty good. You know, just
Yeah, we're old enough to remember when resume was 3 pages long and you listed all whatever. And be honest, if they're looking at an older person, they could care less that you and I went to Marseilles High School, um, or whatever. They want some bullet points that whatever. I managed a project. I was part of the team that did this, and uh, there's a lot of help online for how to do those resumes so that they don't get tossed because they're not going to read. Hey, this is like War and Peace. I don't have time to read this. I'm going to read this guy's over here that's got it on a postcard. So, uh,
yeah, your education is going to be critical.
and there are ways that later in life where you can take like a boot camp training and some, where they offer like skills training on some things where you just kind of hit it for a short amount of time and can learn some basics because a lot of companies are willing to, you know, okay, you have a little bit of knowledge in this, we'll train you the way we want you in this. So, and you showed the effort. Hey, I went and took this, you know, uh, this night class for a few weeks to get a little bit of help on this because I knew I didn't have the enough knowledge about it to even answer questions the right way. And so um, yeah, you can get a little bit of training in it. Volunteer somewhere, maybe look and see who what every town. What I see in Marseilles, they were looking for ESDA or whatever the old uh, emergency
Yeah.
services junk they used to have when people had bomb shelters and stuff. But anyway, to help out, whatever.
You're,
We still have an
you're,
ESDA department that volunteers, so they were looking for people to get trained in CPR and stuff like that. So if you went in and said, "Hey, I
oh yeah, that's a good one.
just got my CPR certs and stuff," it may help if you want to be, "Hey, I want to retire to the beach, but I want a job as a lifeguard." Whatever,
Oh
go
my
get.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hurt. I mean, because I will keep harping on project management because it's probably what I know the most of. But there's also you mentioned that boot camp class you can go to. Like I know there's 4 Saturdays a week you can go out to UT and get that training. And it's a very heavily the PMP certificate, Project Management Professional. I think it costs $500 to take it, but that's a highly sought after certificate. So if you've got a modicum of education and you
Yeah.
put the icing on the cake with that certificate, you're going to open doors.
Yeah, I got mine in a boot camp. I went to some employers put me up to go do it at in Kansas City. I don't know what it was, 7 or 8 years ago, and it was maybe 6 days of 10 hours a day at the convention center kind of thing and whatever, with maybe
Yeah,
20 of us and a bunch of trainers. So, um, and got my certificate. So, yeah, that's pretty
it's not
handy stuff.
fun, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I have turned down a lot of good jobs because of it. So, I mean, that's a lot better way than the other way. Uh,
This is true. This is true. But you also mentioned, hey, by the way, when you're in Kansas City, do you have any good barbecue? Yeah, probably not, right?
yeah, yes, I did. I like barbecue from all over. I think we've already covered that topic on here.
Well, I
Tom,
do. Because I tried it when I was in Kansas City at a place reputable. I mean, known for. And honestly, no disrespect to anybody I'm about to disrespect, but it tasted like barbecue that your mom would make in the crock pot. It's like, come on, guys. Have you never seen a fire?
not a sauce guy, huh? Or what they do?
Oh, heavily sauced up.
Yeah.
But also, it was like there was no smoky taste to it. There was no wood fire. There was, that kind of thing, like you and I are probably going to do. But back to the subject at hand, because you had again, and you're nailing your points. By the way, this is not a gesticulation,
I
but
told you
that's
the
just my
New
head
Year's
point.
resolution. Actually, read the topic once in a while and put a little.
Yeah, you're surprising me, and you're nailing it, and you got me off guard. But but you asked a good question or a point you made about answering the questions. Be ready to answer, and I think you need to practice because they talk about like one the things that we're looking up. It says to practice your interview skills. Yeah, maybe, but I mean it's kind of I'm not gonna. But well, wait a minute. What they mention is asking questions. Make sure you know how to answer. And if you're not familiar with the STAR model, get familiar with it because that's the most popular and it's the easiest way to form your answer. STAR stands for, I might get this wrong, but situation, task, the task you did, the action you took, and what was the result. So situation, task, action, result. So what was the problem? What did had to be done? How did you fix it? And what was the outcome?
So let me see if I've got this right. STAR did not stand for shit. That ain't right.
They may think that after you
That's
said
the
it too.
acronym we use it for at work. So I guess yeah, same thing.
It's funny because
But yes, I think you and I, have a little bit of the gift of gab, so the interview probably doesn't stress us out very much, right? It never has made me pucker up too bad, or not in years. I used to maybe get, but but yeah, go in and have a little bit of an idea, as opposed to the 18-year-old kid who goes in there to a job interview and has no idea what's about to happen. We've been through them before. We've probably given them to people before that we, see if we want to recruit them onto our team or whatever. And we speak publicly probably at work to an audience and stuff. So it's a little bit easier, but yeah, find out what you're the one that's going to make this career change because you want a new opportunity. So I'm sure you know a little bit about why you want that opportunity, what it is about that job you think appeals to you, and ask the employer, the potential employer, the suitor, what you know what they don't like about the thing. Maybe you hadn't thought of. Um,
yeah, again, a good point, DT. You're blowing my mind because I wasn't thinking about it, but that's a good point because at the end, be prepared to ask them some things that would be important to them. Like, what's important, what does success look like in this role or what's critical in your function? Like whatever your restaurant you talk about, your park service, what are the critical functions?
yeah, so it wasn't on our little topic that we sent back and forth, but so you mentioned NASA. So if you were listing your maybe two or three things that you would like to maybe do at 61, if you changed careers again, what would those be?
Right away. I mean, you talk about, I mean, I would like to have, like we mentioned earlier, a job that would provide at least some income so I don't have to start pulling Social Security, but I want to have some fun. So right away, the thing that jumps out at me is I want to be a pit master. I would love to like learn
I was
barbecue
going to
pit
guess if
master.
that was something that you would like to do, the pit, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Rake some
I'd love
coals
to.
and throw some beef and pork on a
Yeah,
fire,
see,
smoke. Yeah,
monitor like because we talk about there's a place here called Snow Barbecue. One of them they always get rated one of the best in Texas. Hour away. I haven't been yet, but their pit master is a lady. I can't remember her name, but she's 84 years old. She does it because she loves it. So she's just, and they would, I think they'd be lost without her.
Yeah, you like cooking. I like cooking. I could see, working someplace like that also. Yeah, learning the skill. It's got something's got to hold my interest if I'm going to do it. So that would be something. Yeah, it's interesting. Restaurateurs, maybe starting my own restaurant at this age would not be something I don't think would be wise because
A
whatever.
lot of work, a lot of work.
Yeah, 30%, 40%, whatever, fail within the first year, and there's a lot of uh, like uh, people don't know. Mitch and I worked in the same restaurant
Bring it up because I don't believe you. I still don't believe that incident happened, but
40
we're
something years
shoot.
ago. But right, I mean, we both worked in a restaurant,
Yeah,
had pretty good food, and so we
very good
learned some
food.
skills there in the kitchen. I would,
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
I used
And
to
I
have to
still have
cut
to.
up 400 chickens or something on a Friday
Oh
in
yeah, boy,
the
but they
week.
made some damn good chicken, didn't they?
Yeah, so
Chicken
I
and
did short
biscotti.
order cook. I wasn't the chef. I was a short order cook, whatever we were, 18, 19 years old, something like that. But
Well, we talk about this. I mean, because there's I think different skill sets. Like if you're in your 50s, you're probably looking for a career that has some advancement. Like in your 60s, 65, you're probably looking at something that'll what you need to if you're looking for from what I keep talking about holding off withdrawing Social Security is try to accurately calculate your monthly bills, then find a job that can cover those monthlies, so you don't have to take out any money out of Social Security.
yeah, that would be mine too. I don't care about increasing my, hey, this job is something I would hate, but I could make a lot of money for the next 10 years till I'm 70 something. No thanks.
Yeah, yeah,
Real
not 10 years.
stressful and whatever. Hey, cool. Maybe I can get an ulcer, heart attack, and so no, I would like something. I don't mind the fact that it's hard work. With me, you said pit master right off the top of your head. Um, I would like something working outdoors, but it's still allowed
Yeah.
me some freedom. So I probably wouldn't want to be, I don't want another full-time job working, 2000, 2,500 hours a year, logging in northern Minnesota or something, all 12 months of the
Oh.
year. But like I said, those park service jobs in the U.S. Forest Service, um, seasonal jobs are pretty appealing to me. And they might not be if I interviewed and found out some of the stuff they have to do, but um, it's pretty interesting to me.
Physical job, I think, because I don't know why, but I've always wanted to. I think we've talked about it before. I want to be that person on the runway at the airport, chucking luggage into the plane, and also like doing the sticks, guiding them in.
Yeah,
Because not only, I mean, that's fair amount of pay. I've talked to somebody who's done it before, but do you know they also get that free airline, free flights?
yeah. Well, I didn't know all of them, but I have a coworker whose son worked for, at Midway as a baggage handler or something with Southwest, and I know
Yeah,
that they could fly. So
yeah, through the prime, but you have to be like an off time and probably not going to be the aisle of the exit row, but still a free flight. He told me literally he had taken a round trip to Europe for $400. Like, damn.
yeah, so yeah, your job may be something that involves some travel. Like maybe you've been, on the production line someplace for years, and you're like, whatever. So yeah, I know guys that I worked with that retired and would pick up campers in Indiana where they make all the RVs or something in the world and drive them out to whatever, California or Idaho or down to Florida or something uh, as a job. And they didn't do it, 365 days a year, but they would like, hey, I haven't seen that part of the country. I'll deliver a camper out there. I can
Yeah,
sleep in
I
it
like
on the
that.
way out and drop it off. So that sounds
I like
like
that.
a terrible thing
Like people,
either.
I mean, people used to do that with what like new trucks and stuff like that, but driving like the big rigs and.
Yeah.
But I think in the end, like to sum it all up is like, first of all, look and correct me if I miss anything. But look, what are your reasons why you're doing it? Then try to analyze your skill set. I mean, maybe you just better stay. And but then again, life is short. We've talked about that. But what and then try to see your transferable skills. Maybe put your transferable skills together in an updated resume on LinkedIn and let them do the search for you or Indeed.com. I'm sure they have similar services. But also, as you're looking for these new places, try to understand why you're doing it. Better work-life balance, more opportunity, a job you enjoy. They say never run from a job, but sometimes you're just tired, maybe tired of putting up with it. But But in the end, I'd say no matter what your reason, if you decide to go for it, I think Mitch and the entire herd wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, don't. It's a big step for a lot of folks, but yeah, don't be afraid to give it a try. This is your one. I've said it before. This is your one go round, so make the most of it. And a bunch of people, there's some kind of quote about if you love what you do, you never worked a day in your life. So uh, somewhere, sort of in the middle with that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I want to say horse feathers, but I don't want to, I don't want to pee right on Benjamin Franklin's back. But but yeah, good luck in the search. And if you want, well, in fact, I will. I'll post. Well, I'll mention LinkedIn and Indeed in the uh, episode description when we post it. But I think the last thing that I think we should point out is don't underestimate yourself. You may probably have more skills than you think you do.
I'm sure that's the case. If you've got 30, 40 years of experience in the employment game, you've picked up some skills.
You've earned your chops, so use them, buddy. DT, again, I don't want to underestimate the fact that you took time out of your day to spend with me and you put on a hat, and I appreciate it. But always a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to next time.
Yeah, good talking to you, Mitch. And thanks for listening, folks.